high. What is the best definition of a fact? Something that actually exists. Reality. The truth. Something known to have existed or have happened. For example, space travel is now a fact because it's a truth known by actual experience or observation. Why am I telling you this? Well, first of all, I thought it would make me sound smart. And secondly, it's because today's video is about a young earth creationist, By The Book Ministries. Yeah, you remember, I made a video about him in October, and he seems pretty convinced that the earth is only 6,000 years old. And if that isn't the polar opposite of a fact, then I don't know what is! Please subscribe.
Hey, what's going on YouTube, young earth creation community? My last video got a lot of great engagement, so I felt inspired to make a part 2.
Snap! So did my last video about your video. And that's why I felt inspired to make part 2 as well. It would seem that people who watch me like it when I point out how completely ridiculous it is to actually think that the earth is only 6,000 years old. Imagine that.
In this video, I want to give you scientific reasons for why I believe the earth is young.
Impossible, for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that your video is more than 30 seconds long, and the second reason is that there aren't any scientific reasons that support your position.
I want to give reasons from geology, from paleontology, biology, even anthropology.
Lots of ologies there, but in my humble opinion, there's only one ology you should be thinking about giving, and that's an apology, because you're spreading vast amounts of misinformation to the 11,000 people who are subscribed to your channel. Shame on you. Are you not familiar with commandment number 9? Thou shalt not bear false witness? This means do not tell a lie. Just say that then. Do not tell stories that are untrue. When you tell a lie, you hurt yourself as well as others. Soon, people will not trust what you say. Well, for the majority of people, I would say that ship's already sailed.
I believe the earth is young, and I believe it can be proven scientifically. I believe there are scientific reasons and explanations that best fit a young earth model.
As I've said many times before, it makes little difference what you believe. All that matters is what you can prove or what you can provide evidence for. Do you have any evidence for a 6,000-year-old earth? And I mean evidence that doesn't involve the Bible. Because, and you watching this at home or on the toilet, wherever you may be, can join in with me. The Bible is not a scientific textbook.
Okay, so let's start the video off like this. Let's start with my first scientific proof in geology: bent rock layers.
Okay, Harry Muff. Bent rock layers? Do you mean folds that are commonly formed by the shortening of existing layers, but may also be formed as a result of displacement of a non-planar fault at the tip of a propagating fault by differential compaction or due to the effects of high-level igneous intrusion above a laccolith? Is it laccolith?
But how can that happen if they were laid down separately over hundreds of millions of years?
Correct. That's how it could happen. So you do know. I'm finding this all very confusing. Young earth creationists have this habit of making a claim, in this case bent rocks, then saying it proves a young earth before going on to explain that it takes millions of years for that thing to occur. Which to me shows that they know that they're lying about the age of the earth. It makes no sense at all. Now, it's fair enough if somebody just doesn't know how something happens, but to know and then claim the opposite is just an outright lie. I'm very dishonest.
Try bending a slab of rock, a slab of concrete.
Okay, but can I do it very, very slowly? Like maybe over 100 million years or so?
Any type of rock, try bending it. It's not gonna work.
Of course it's not gonna work. They're rocks and most of them are rock hard. Anyway, you were saying something about breaking rocks?
But if the concrete is still wet, it can be easily folded without breaking.
Hold on a second, why are you using concrete as an example? Concrete is ground into a fine powder mixed with a few other raw components, the most important being water, and then mixed and allowed to set. None of that really applies to rocks that we see naturally occurring, does it? Or at least not in the same time frame anyway. So it's a terrible example. But with that being said, so are all the other so-called proofs for a 6,000-year-old earth.
The same principle applies to sedimentary rock layers. They can be bent and folded soon after the sediment is deposited.
Now, this is kind of a yes and no answer, heavier on the no, obviously. The process for hardening concrete is artificial, man-made. Even if the process was the same or similar with rock folds, it still doesn't prove a young earth because it happens very, very slowly over millions of years, which is what science shows us. And I can see what you're getting at, and I'm fairly certain we are going to hear about the flood pretty soon.
Grand Canyon is a great example of this.
No, it isn't. It's a terrible example, like I just said. But I really want to know why you think it's a great example. I think I just dribbled. You.
The canyon walls are hundreds of feet thick, containing multiple rock layers. Yet somehow this whole sequence of rock layers was bent and folded without fracturing.
Were they though? Because like all other young Earth creationists, you consistently misrepresent geological outcrops by insisting that the rocks did not fracture while being folded. The fact is, minor fractures from tens of centimeters to less than a millimeter are visible in every outcrop of folded sedimentary layers. The trick is that the photos are all taken from a distance that hide the ubiquitous presence of these features. I can't even get my words out. But the phenomenon is very well documented by oil companies and petroleum geologists who depend on those fractures to carry oil and water freely through the rocks.
But that's impossible if the first layer, the Tepic sandstone, was deposited over North America 460 million years before being folded.
Okay, but why? You can't just keep making claims and then offering no plausible explanation as to why your position is more accurate than people who don't think the Earth is 6,000 years old.
But if it all happened during a recent global flood...
Ha! Told you, didn't I? Didn't I say he was gonna bring up the flood? Damn, I'm getting good at this. The problem for young Earth creationists is that there was no global flood. Okay, let me ask you this simple question then. If the entire planet was engulfed by water, where did it come from? But more importantly, where the hell did it all go? The fact is that the oldest rocks found in the Grand Canyon are 1.8 billion years old, and the water's been carving away at it for 5 to 6 million years. And I know none of that fits in with your ideas about the age of the Earth, but like I said earlier, that's the funny thing about facts. It doesn't matter whether you believe them or not, they're still facts.
Those layers will still be relatively soft and pliable. You young Earth creationists are so gullible.
Oh, thanks. It saves me saying it, doesn't it? But to be honest, I wouldn't have called you gullible. I would have just said it as it is. You're a bunch of lying toe rags.
Don't you realize that heat and pressure are the results for the folded rock layers?
See what I mean? He knows how it really happened, which just highlights that he's a liar, like all other young Earth creationists.
Ignore that guy for this reason.
Because he shows that you know you're lying?
Yes, heat and extreme pressure can most definitely soften rock, but it also transforms the rock into metamorphic rock.
What the hell's that got to do with the price of butt plugs? Again, all you're doing is exposing yourself as a liar. I don't get your thinking at all. Yes, a lot of folded rocks are metamorphic rocks, but it takes an average of 30 to 40 million years for that to happen as well. So what makes you think that helps your insane belief?
The next reason is found in biology, soft tissue in dinosaur fossils.
Oh, for the love of... I can't think of anything. But please, not this again. Young Earth creationists frame this as if we're finding it every 5 minutes. Go on then, tell us your little story.
Now, the majority of people I talk to, whether it be on college campuses, online, or anywhere, believe the universe and the Earth are very old.
That's because it is, and we can demonstrate it.
They accept this based on the prevailing view that dinosaurs died 65 million years ago and the fact that we have dinosaur fossils.
Right, that's it. Now then. We don't only accept the age of the Earth because of the fossil record. Yes, one of the many pieces of evidence that support the real age of the Earth, but it isn't the only thing we have in our favor.
But a recent discovery by Dr. Mary Schweitzer challenged this age-old assumption. Bone slices from the fossilized thigh bone of a Tyrannosaurus rex found in the Hell Creek Formation of Montana were studied under the microscope by Schweitzer. To her amazement, the bone showed what appeared to be blood vessels from the type seen in bone and marrow, and these contain which appeared to be red blood cells with nuclei.
Okay, first of all, Mary is pretty pissed off that young Earth creationists are using her discovery as evidence for a young Earth, and secondly, finding an exquisitely preserved group of cells in a fossil is rare. Nucleic acids are fragile and tend to break down quickly post-mortem. Sometimes minerals protect biomolecules for thousands of years. In other cases, proteins like collagen preserve biomolecules. However, there is no hard rule as to what makes a molecular fossil possible. So how exactly is it that young Earth creationists think they know so much about something that real science only has a very limited understanding of?
So the obvious question is, how can these highly biodegradable substances be left intact for millions of years?
Well, I just explained that, didn't I? Are you not listening? So what else have you got for me? But first, let's hear this douche canoe explain it away in a way that further demonstrates him as a liar.
You young Earth creationists never stop. What you incorrectly identify as blood vessels is actually what scientists call biofilm. Over time, bacteria tends to congregate, and when the bacteria dies, it forms a slime. So what you perceive as blood vessels and nuclei, it's nothing more than dead bacteria.
Yeah, I don't actually know if that's right or wrong, nor do I care. But I am sure one of you smartasses will let me know down in the comment section below.
My next evidence comes from paleontology, living fossils. Creatures like jellyfish, horseshoe crabs, coelacanths, and many more are living proof of a recent creation. These animals were thought to have gone extinct millions of years ago, yet they're still alive today.
How exactly is the rediscovery of animals which are millions of years old proof of creation? That doesn't even make any sense. They were always here, and some of the examples you're showing are bottom dwellers. They stay well hidden.
For example, horseshoe crabs show up in the fossil record some 450 million years ago, according to old Earth dating. And then they suddenly disappear for hundreds of millions of years, yet they're alive right now, and they've remained unchanged for allegedly millions of years.
Sorry if I seem to be repeating myself, but how exactly does that help your position? Now, I'll admit I'm no expert, but I can't see how showing us animals that have been around for millions of years helps you show us that the Earth is only 6,000 years old.
The scientific community has easily debunked this claim. It's called the Lazarus effect.
Oh, that's a really good movie. Have you seen it?
The Lazarus effect does not sufficiently explain how an animal can be dead for millions of years, suddenly reanimate itself, and come back to life.
That's not what it is, so is it, you ass clown? Just because we haven't seen a particular species for a very long time, it doesn't mean that it hasn't been here the whole time. We're discovering new species all the time. There are said to be 1.6 million described species on our planet, but some experts even believe it could be as many as 100 million. Have we seen them all? Probably not. Are they all here anyway? Maybe, who's to say? Just because we've rediscovered certain species doesn't mean they went extinct and then somehow magically just reappeared. My word, this guy is testing my patience.
Instead, the fossil record shows that a global flood occurred only thousands of years ago.
No! It doesn't. Where's the evidence for a global flood? Well, allow me to tell you, there isn't any.
That buried entire ecosystems, and although many of these creatures died, they did not go fully extinct.
Well, of course you have an explanation. And it all sounded to me like they spent thousands of years digging themselves out of the mud. And you actually think people are gonna buy that?
These so-called living fossils never fully went extinct, and the fact that we don't see change or the lack of change throughout the fossil record flies in the face of secular science.
Does it? Cool. What about the evolution of DNA? Wouldn't that be a type of invisible evolution, for want of a better word? And you can't say, you are saying that some parts of evolution are invisible because you think we were all just poofed into existence by an invisible man who lives in the clouds. So don't even try it.
Population growth. According to some old Earth models and evolutionary timelines, Homo sapiens diverged from chimp-like ancestors 3 to 6 million years ago. In that case, there should be multiple billions of people alive today, and many billions buried in the fossil record.
Now then, I've talked about this before, and the problem for young Earth creationists is that they are basing this on a constant growth in population. But the reality is, population growth is not a constant thing, it fluctuates. Changing population size is subject to a number of influences, like natural fertility, social attitudes to fertility and reproduction, sustainability in terms of food and nutrition, war, outbreaks of disease, public hygiene and sanitation, healthcare developments and mass migration. So sorry again, young Earth creationists, you are very wrong. Shocking, I know.
But there isn't. With the world's human population now approaching 8 billion, as it turns out, a biblical model of Earth being repopulated from Noah's 3 sons and their 3 wives starting about 4,500 years ago fits perfectly with the number of people living today.
Okay, so let's assume that we accept your version of events. How do you explain different races? Adam and Eve were white, or were there multiple versions of Adam and Eve created by God in various skin colors? And we already know that there is no way you can explain this difference in people without evolution, so checkmate, young Earth creationist.
The evolutionary model and the old Earth model falls laughably short. There should be many, many more of us alive today and many of us buried in the fossil record, but there isn't.
Right, allow me to
This is utter nonsense. The reason why there's not more Homo sapiens fossils is because the process is extremely rare. You need many preconditions present for something to be fossilized. Furthermore, the recent spike in population growth in the 1800s is due to agricultural advancement and modern medicine.
Yep, and thanks for saving me the trouble of looking that up.
You make some interesting points. I agree. There's certain conditions are required for something to fossilize, like a watery environment, rapid burial in mud and silt. Sounds like the preconditions of a flood.
Oh, for f***'s sake. I give up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon. Love you, bye.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.